Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to all of you joining us on the web. Welcome to the CloudSlam session on cloud migration strategies. In this session, we will discuss how to migrate to and in between cloud services without, and that's important, without compromising service continuity. So before we dive into the session, let me say a few words about Cotendo. Cotendo is both a CDN and a web acceleration service provider. It's actually a fairly new company. They have been in the market since early 2009 with powerful investor backing by both Sequoia Capital and Benchmark Capital. And the reason why CloudSlam invited Cotendo to join was Cotendo has been growing extremely fast over the past year across various verticals, particularly e-commerce, financial services, enterprise, and also social media. So they are like the rising star in the content delivery networking space. And what enabled Cotendo to grow so quickly is literally the underlying agile technology. So they created a next-generation platform, a next-generation infrastructure as a services platform with unified proxy delivery. And Ido will tell you more what that really means for companies like you migrating into the cloud or in between clouds. So with this, I'm going to hand over to the presenter, Ido Saprudi, VP of Product Strategy of Cotendo.
Hello and good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this evening session. I hope you're not too tired or too early. I'm Ido Saprudi, as Corinna said, and I'm going to talk about mitigating the risk in cloud deployments, or from the other side of the cone, how can you harvest the best the cloud can offer. I want to start off by telling you how excited I am for the opportunity to share some lessons learned from various customers of ours and from implementation we've seen, and cloud deployments, and we've seen some good and some bad, and we want to share it with you. We see great activity in the cloud in the last year or more. We see the numbers rising, the number of installations adding on by the day, more providers joining the cloud offering, more services, more servers fired up every day, more locations, prices are dropping, and it all boils down to getting more options and easier access with the promise that you can spend your resources and money on what's core to your business instead of infrastructure. But is it really so? From tracking some success and less successful installations, I've learned that while many building blocks are out there, some building blocks are still missing, and some instruction and some glue appropriate to assembly is needed. So what does it take for a company to trust the cloud for critical applications? For instance, when will an e-commerce company will feel comfortable enough to use the cloud to use its critical applications such as the actual transaction on the cloud, and there are some components missing there. So how can you control your performance? What is the cost to such an implementation? How can you control the performance? How can you control the quality of service you are giving, and not the quality of the service the cloud providers are giving you? How can you control your availability? Obviously, how can you control scaling? And during this session, I'll share with you the guidelines to such successful deployment and some lessons we've learned, as I said. I'd like to call your attention to the 3 key guidelines I use when thinking on cloud implementation. So the cloud is not just like any other implementation. It's not necessarily identical to when you provide your own service. And the first takeaway is that the cloud, in the cloud, migration is a state of mind, not necessarily a state. It's not something you do. You migrate to the cloud and then you're there. But the cloud by nature, if you want to really leverage the benefits of it, you want to use the dynamic, the transition. You want to keep very agile and flexible and have the power to migrate from one resource to another. You want to harness the cloud to improve your performance and availability. Obviously, the cloud can have some performance issues, but but being so large, whenever a server is down, there are many other servers that can perform much better. And if you can utilize and get the best out of the cloud instead of worse out of the cloud, you can actually